Guard Lieutenant Wolf. You step into my Readier Room, please, and bring a tricorder with you.
Hi, Captain. What do you make of this? I am puzzled, sir. The only detectable bioelectrical symbols are your own. You did not know. I did not.
Hello and welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every other week of the year, we're bringing you an episode of TNG and all the behind-the-scenes stories that came together to make that happen. My name is Mitchell Bells, Chief Consultant of Services, and with me is my partner, Brandon Hobbs. Just the normal Brandon Hobbs. Today, before I even introduce you, today is a special Readier Room After Dark.
That's true. We're both cranky and sleepy.
Cranky, sleepy, and fussy.
It's definitely a perfect environment to be doing this.
Which is exactly why I'm leaving that intro in exactly as is.
That's I was about to ask you why. I was assuming you were going to re-record that, but here we are. No, we've reemerged as a kinder, gentler kind of Readier.
Yes, we're a little closer to the microphones, a little softer, a little more pop filter, a little more pop culture.
I've procured a box of Barnum animal crackers.
I've procured a book about Bailey and Barnum. You ever been to the circus?
I've unfortunately no. The closest thing I got was in fact these animal crackers. I just wanted to note that they no longer have the little wheels and the string that you used to be able to kind of paper craft into a little carriage. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, those were awesome. Straight up. Do they still
straight up? Yeah.
Do they still have the names of the animals written on them? Because I find the ones that don't to be a little too challenging.
They do. They have elephant, koala, hippopotamus, seal, and
the
lion.
Recording artist.
You know, all the important animals really: seal, lion, koala.
Now, for me, good lord, what I had something to say about one of those animals, but I just don't remember the animals that you said from 2 seconds ago.
Okay, here, let me read them to you again.
Oh, wait, no, I remember now. I remember.
Okay.
Elephants. So here's the thing about elephants.
Yes.
I have this compulsion within me to, whenever I'm with somebody and we see an elephant, whether it be on like a logo, a stuffed toy, anything, I welcome them to the elephant zone. Or, in other parlances, the zoo zone.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, now I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. You know what they say about elephants?
They are gray, morally.
They are. Isn't there some kind of correlation between intelligence and cruelty?
Yes, but it does not equal causation.
Well, I was just gonna that may be the case, right? Because elephants aren't really known for playing with the carcasses of other animals or like raping them or anything, but they are very smart.
Now, I thought elephants specifically would toss around carcasses with their big old trunks.
No, I think that's just self-defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that they're not really scared of mice?
No, just shut up. That's not true.
Yeah, elephants can use a computer just like anyone else.
There's something there in terms of a bit of a guy who goes on a safari just with pockets full of mice.
The phrase "pockets full of mice" is quite poetic and rhythmic in its own sense. It's the cellar door of our time.
Mm. It's so the shoe is on the other foot today. I have the coffee.
I'm also drinking a coffee.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, I mean, I was regaling you earlier with some of the things that I have to do tonight, in addition to record and edit the show. By which I mean, my producer will do that, obviously, but
Right.
So I am also having a coffee. But yeah, we're a couple of coffee boys.
We're coffee heads, yeah.
Yeah, bean heads, real beaners, really. Do you have
mean bean machine here?
You got a dark roast blend?
No, it's I hesitate to say this, because someone out there is going to take this and edit it, like they usually do.
Yeah.
But I have a Pike Place.
Like the Monopoly Square.
Sure.
Yeah. I think that was one of the purple ones right at the start. Or is that Browntown?
Browntown. Yeah. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played Monopoly, thankfully.
Yeah. I mean, I've monopolized things plenty in my time, but rarely do I play at that game.
What I want to know is who's the kind of person who buys the licensed monopolies, like Star Wars Monopoly.
Oh, I think you and I both know a couple of people who would buy Star Wars Monopoly.
When it's a game night, they pull that out, and their girlfriend kind of just like rolls her eyes.
I think about this a lot, actually, where the kind of person invested enough in game night to buy a specialty Monopoly, but not invested enough to like get into the more hobbyist board games.
Sure.
Like Catan, Chris Catan.
Yeah. And you know what? That's even more damning because Catan is pretty mainstream at this point.
It is. I mean, board gaming as a hobby, like beyond Milton Bradley stuff, I think is mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically been ruined.
Yeah. Like anything that enters the mainstream.
Sure. I was trying to find a Scrabble board the other day.
Yeah.
And the little stands for your letters?
Yeah. The letter
not wooden anymore. Yeah.
What are they made out of? Fiberglass?
They're plastic. They're just nasty plastic.
See, I justified buying as many Scrabble boards as I did by the fact that it was biodegradable.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
Not only biodegradable, but that wood's going to be worth something someday.
Yeah. Walnut?
Once all those trees are gone,
I
can melt it down.
My plan is to reconstruct the trees and then speak for them as a bit of a Lorax type figure.
Are you gonna surgically convert yourself into a fat, round, little furry thing?
Well, I don't have much work to do, but yes. Little Danny DeVito-esque figure.
Yeah. I'm approaching the end of this giant bluefin tuna video.
Okay, were you amazed by the cutting power of that knife?
Yeah, it was impressive. But even more impressive is the very end, where they hold up the meat, and they can't hold it still. They're trying to show it off. And they're just kind of shaking like Michael J. Fox. I always find that really funny in like
Parkinson's?
No. That's not funny. That's horrific. I find it funny in sort of like B grade food commercials where they pick you pick up the food off the plate and you show it off kind of like in the air, midair, right, in the spoon or on the chopsticks or something. And they couldn't invest enough money to kind of like get something that would stabilize this person's hand, so they're just shaking. You know what I mean?
I do. So do you watch for that in any kind of promotional spot?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really bothers me.
Now, does this extend to the filmic practice of shaky cam?
It could. It could.
Have you ever eaten at a Shakey's Pizza?
No, is that a real thing?
That's a real thing.
Mm.
That is a real thing that might as well be fake because I've only heard about it.
Where is that? Like,
I think around Colorado.
Yeah.
It's
actually pronounced Colorado.
I did know that, actually.
Mm.
Every now and then I pronounce a word wrong on purpose.
It's actually pronounced Los Angeles.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know that it's actually pronounced Nuevo Mexico?
Ah. That's what they don't tell you in school.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from Nuevo Jersey, so I know these things.
Yeah, there's something that doesn't feel right about speaking Spanish and talking about New York. Nueva York.
Right.
Just call it New York. Come on.
I mean, I would go one step further and say there's something that just feels off about speaking Spanish.
Sure. It's
a
the
bullshit
language of the
crime
poor.
language.
The language of the poor, my mother used to say.
And God bless her soul.
The crime language.
I'm just saying nothing above the table has ever been conducted in Spanish.
Yeah, sure, it is all below table.
Right. That and, like, water park operations.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly related. I think the last time we did one of these shows, an eternity ago, a veritable eternity ago.
Yeah.
I discussed the beginnings of my Breaking Bad journey.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, and since then I've finished that show and started its sister show, the sequel-ish, Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, instead of focusing on Walter White, focuses on Better Call Saul, which is distinctly worse than Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, here's the thing. As I often do, I autistically read the scuttlebutt about media that I consume. And a pretty common opinion is that it's better than its predecessor.
Yeah, I've been seeing this too. And I can give you an objective opinion as one who has not watched either show. But
please.
Once you start, and I probably said this last time too, but once you start spinning things off, I mean, it's kind of a clear indication that you're getting desperate to recapture the magic of the initial show.
Yeah.
And just starting from that point, I don't think there's any way to really make something truly grand when you're starting from such a cynical angle. No.
It's a vision problem.
Yeah. Well, like the Marvel character?
No, like what my optometrist warns me about.
Mm-hmm. So what's your problem with it?
Well, how do I describe this? It's
really poopy.
It's really poopy and pissy. The problem is that it's fractured. It's in a fan servicey kind of way, because at least for the first couple seasons, it follows the stories of two characters, Better Call Saul and this old ex-cop guy named Mike.
Oh, if you said mid-40s Asian American woman, I was about to get excited.
Well, they don't want you as the audience, clearly. But both of these guys were fan favorites from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And by that show, their stories had converged, where they're business associates. And here, they aren't really at that point yet. It's actually a prequel. So,
sure. Oh, where does Dean Norris fit in?
Yeah, I wish my brain could work fast enough to understand what you just asked me. Who?
Acclaimed actor. His name is Dean Norris, right?
I have to Google this.
The
Oh.
the guy who tweeted like big boobies or something.
Is this the guy whose face became like a meme?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. He was
Who was he?
He was Walter White's brother-in-law on Breaking Bad.
He's a very funny person.
Is he?
No, just his existence is funny.
Oh yeah.
The way he conducts himself is funny in real life.
Well, he was a good part of Breaking Bad. He added a lot to that show.
Yeah.
But he's not in Better Call Saul. But anyway.
Oh, that's a shame.
Better Call Saul's dedication to these two characters for no other reason than the fact that the audiences really liked them.
Yes.
It harms the quality of it overall.
Sure. Yeah, they should have consulted us because that's what we always say. Never give the audience what they want.
Anything.
Not even a speck.
Spick and
I'm
speck.
Sorry. Spack. Not even a speck.
But because of that, it's just there's no momentum behind it. In the first show, it was all Walter White's story, and sure, he had relatives and they had subplots or whatever, but and his partner also had some arc, but the core of it was always his descent and his things he's doing to ostensibly provide for his family. It had a through line, but you're just jumping between these other two characters and their completely unrelated stories in Better Call Saul. Combine that with the fact that neither of those two storylines is really all that momentous. There's no huge stakes. It's just pretty humdrum, and it's difficult to get nearly as invested.
Well, to be fair, it is a prequel, right? So at that point, I don't think big stakes had been invented yet.
That's right.
They were all pretty small.
Yeah. So they were kind of their hands were tied by the time period.
By little stake.
Yeah.
I suspect at some point I will be watching Breaking Bad, but I don't see myself ever delving into Better Call Saul.
I mean, it's worth watching maybe the first season of as kind of a novelty for somebody who did watch Breaking Bad, just to get a sense.
Did you say you finished it already?
Breaking Bad?
No, Better Call Saul.
No, I'm at the beginning of season 3, and there's 6 seasons.
Oof. Oh, you're really trucking along there. When you watch a show, you watch it fast, huh?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a binger ever since high school. The binging is easy. It's the purging that's hard.
You caught me.
I got you.
There's a part of Breaking Bad. There's one thing I know about Breaking Bad besides the pizza on the roof, and that's this vague plot point of Walter like scamming the cartel, the Mexican cartel or something.
Okay.
And how like obnoxiously epic it is.
I don't actually recall this. Do you know any more details? I mean, that's
no, that's it.
But there certainly are times where, it's the way it's shot is very much like, oh, this is a badass moment. He's a badass.
like I'll be talking about this at the water cooler tomorrow.
Right. When in actuality, the thing that I felt watching all of Breaking Bad was that there is absolutely nobody to root for and support in that show. And that's intentional. This is not like a grand revelation or anything.
You're not going to make your Plinkett review center it on that?
No. Is that oh, that was, yes, okay. That's been a while.
That was like the first thing that he brought up.
Yeah. Well,
which is wrong, by the way. It's wrong.
Well, I think it's right in the case of Breaking Bad. You haven't seen it, obviously. I know you're not speaking on that, but it's...
Thank you for reassuring me.
Yeah. I know, I just wanted you to know that I'm not a retard who can't read a conversation.
We are always dangerously close to me thinking you're a retard, so anything could tip the scales.
I don't know how I've survived this long. Just constantly living on the edge of the retard precipice.
If we had video content, I would at this point slow the video down, zoom into your face, and slap a big retard sign on your head.
Well, I appreciate you not doing that for real with a physical placard like that one time. But
Just, assault you, yeah.
yeah. But Breaking Bad, Walter White does abjectly terrible things throughout the entire run. His partner Jesse does horrible things. The villains are, villains straight up. Everyone's just sucks, and it feels discouraging to watch. It's entertaining, but it feels actively discouraging, and by the time it wraps up, you just kind of feel shitty.
Yeah, you kind of want to just like cleanse yourself by watching Care Bears or something.
Or Better Call Saul.
Or Deep Space Nine.
Do you know that there's a Lower Decks episode about Deep Space Nine?
Hold on, I don't want to move away from Breaking Bad. We'll get to that, but I don't want to move away from Breaking Bad yet because I have two questions for you.
Okay.
First of all, there's a movie, right? There's a sequel.
Yeah, El Camino.
And that's what? That's Jesse?
That's Spanish
Or
for
what?
the Camino. Yeah.
The Camino.
I haven't watched it yet, because apparently it was made after Better Call Saul ended. So I'm going in the release order, but
Wait, no, it couldn't have been.
it was. Wait,
It was made after Better Call Saul ended, and
Wait,
Better Call Saul just ended.
this is probably... I'm wrong, most likely. Hold on. Am I... Whoa. Okay,
They
this
might have been made concurrently.
this came out in 19, El Camino. And you're right, Better Call Saul ended this year, so that was made in the middle. of all
It's
this.
really hard to say Better Call Saul quickly.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. Yeah. So, okay. Do you expect that will be worth watching?
No, I don't, but
Mm-hmm.
I am going to watch it.
Who's that? That other actor with the weird, creepy face?
Um,
The blonde guy,
yeah,
Clemens.
Jesse Plemons.
He ballooned for that movie. Like, no, sorry, not for it, but
Yeah, Jesse,
He
we
had
need
to
you to
be-
gain a lot of weight to break continuity.
we need you. We need you to do a reverse Bryce Dallas Howard, please.
What's bizarre is that that's a sequel film, but his character's dead. Died before the end of the show.
Sure. So it's like in a flashback or something.
I don't know, probably.
Maybe he's been resurrected.
It's a fantastical element that they added.
Magical realism added to Breaking Bad. You know what? That is a direction they could go. Okay, all right. There's that. What was the? Oh, what did you think of the acclaimed Ryan Johnson episode?
You're not the first person to ask me about that.
Really?
And yeah, and it was good. It's
Huh.
you would really like it. I know you like a good bottle episode.
Yeah, totally.
I find I didn't know that episode would be controversial because I just watched it without knowing anything, and people asked me after the fact.
Mhm.
But anybody who dislikes that is a moron. These are the people who think Breaking Bad is just about, I don't know, just
Breaking Bad.
shooting gangsters and Walter White being an incredible badass. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
Oh my God, Heisenberg. Ah.
You know that episode pissed off a ton of boomers.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, but I think it's also just retarded young people.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. No, I mean definitely. Yeah, you're right. The kind of people who like go to bar trivia.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. because that episode has like a pretty touching, extended moment between
Universe.
Extended universe between Walter and Jesse that gets pretty heavy, and it's like this. If you're, how can you not be there for this character stuff if you're watching this show?
Because I imagine that is the main draw.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So
it's not 24.
Yeah, go watch 24, you fucking assholes.
Which is a
I believe
product of its time.
Ryan Johnson downloaded. What is wrong with me? He directed
Overwatch.
He directed a different episode too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I think he directed Star Wars.
What's a Star Wars?
It's a little sci-fi franchise. It's not as big as Star Trek, of course, but
oh, he also directed what is widely regarded as the best episode of Breaking Bad.
No kidding.
Yeah,
that's funny.
The one that references Watchmen with the title.
Go set a Watchman.
Ozymandias.
Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. Ryan Johnson's a fine director.
I don't. He wrote that Star Wars film too, right?
I don't know if he wrote it, to be honest. He might have. He might have had a hand in it at least.
I don't know anybody who has ever said, "Oh, this Star Wars film by Ryan Johnson is so badly directed," right? It's just people who are like, "Oh, the director, he makes the props, he writes the script, he acts in several of the scenes. It's all his fault."
Yeah. I have seen people downplay the directing in that Star Wars film though, and I think that's the only, if anything, I think it's the only notable thing about it. And it's exceptional compared to J.J. Abrams. That's for sure.
Right.
But
it's not just people running everywhere.
Oh God.
I wake up in the middle of the night, just scenes from the J.J. Abrams Star Trek flashing before my eyes.
Wait, have you seen the J.J. Star Trek?
I've seen clips, which is all I need to see.
We should really sit down and watch them because they are horrific. I guess the first one is like a somewhat competent, just Hollywood blockbuster action film. I think it's okay.
I'll warn you, I am a fan of the Beastie Boys.
I don't know what that is.
Some classical music. I believe the film refers to it as.
Oh jeez.
They play Sabotage in that scene.
Which is egg on my face because I always talk about how annoying it is that they don't do that in real Trek.
That's right.
Right?
It's funny because it's logically sound, but just from our perspective, it feels ridiculous.
Yeah, I suppose so. So what was this about Lower Decks that you were talking about?
There's not much to say, but there's a Deep Space Nine Lower Decks episode.
Okay.
And it gets some of the actors back to do the voices. They have they have Quark and Major Kira. And there's a lot of just random callbacks to Deep Space Nine minutia.
Oh, so, you must have been nursing a chub.
Well, I didn't watch it.
Is this what's going to get you to watch it?
I saw a clip of it, and the animation was off-putting.
Yes, it's like every other garbage children's cartoon.
Yeah, I hesitate to say it was bad, but it was definitely soulless.
Yes, yeah, it certainly is soulless. And I unfortunately pay for Paramount Plus. I just want to get that out there. And they have unskippable Paramount Plus ads when you start watching something. And I'm subjected to just, half-second clips of Lower Decks every time I go to watch an episode of The Next Generation. And it's obnoxious. It's a very obnoxious show.
Do you think the universe and your psyche is going to fold in on itself when we watch the Lower Decks namesake episode of TNG?
Yeah. That's coming up soon, isn't it?
No, that's in the final season.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, silly me.
We could accelerate, just bang out an episode every day if you really want to get there.
You know what? Maybe we should. Spend 4 hours a day on Star Trek.
Back in the mines, the Trek mines, the Readier mines.
The Readier mines.
The enemy mines.
I have been playing with the idea of watching that that Pike show.
Which one is that?
Strange New Worlds? Brave New Worlds? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about though, right?
Kind of.
Right?
It's like the old Star Trek formula, but a new show.
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
Although there was one episode with a trans character, which invited a lot of psychotic discussion on the internet.
I mean, TNG had that.
TNG had that. Yes. So I can't really complain about it.
I guess the TNG one was non-binary.
Yeah. It's still ahead of its time, really.
Yeah. I'm not even joking. That was the setup. It was like an androgynous society.
No, yeah, I know. I've seen it.
You worked on it.
Believe it or not.
All right, my man. We're gonna.
But
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I will be watching Picard season 3. I don't think I can not watch it.
You'll have to give me the play-by-play.
Maybe we should watch it together.
I guess we could.
No, we'll watch it together. We'll sit down, we'll get a little popcorn, and we'll watch it because we have to see these geriatrics just try to reprise these roles.
Here's my vision. It's like it's a room lit by the fading sunlight at dusk. There's kind of dust hanging in the room / particle effects on the camera. It kind of comes in on an aging, decrepit Gates in silhouette.
Oh.
And the camera has a little bit of movement where it's panning around her very slowly. And she's talking about Jean-Luc, right? Not Picard, Jean-Luc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of brown. It's not maybe like a twilighty, dusky brown. That's the predominant color.
She's in
of the
Mexico.
scene. Yes, yeah. And who's she talking to? She's talking about Jean-Luc to like a Starfleet guy that's investigating Picard for some reason. And this guy is going around to all the ex-Enterprise bridge members, and one by one their memories of Picard are being dredged up, and then they're gonna form a grand team for a heist on a casino.
And someone's going to say fuck.
Yes. Worf is gonna say fuck.
What the fuck, Captain?
Sir. Worf is a captain now. So, right?
Well, he was the ambassador to Kling for the Federation at the end of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I think he becomes a captain. Maybe, I don't know.
He certainly got it in him to be a captain.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it. Shit, I completely lost my train of thought. Never mind. I wanted to continue talking about Picard, but I forgot what I was going to say.
Q.
Oh well.
Picard.
It's not.
Old people.
Old people. Oh, Gates.
I knew it. We got there.
You could crop out Gates' face and put it on an ostrich, and it would look completely natural.
Old Gates or any Gates?
Old Gates. Old Gates specifically.
All right, I buy that. I mean, it's the similar effect with Patrick Stewart and a tortoise.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah. Now we have to figure out which animal each cast member is now that they're old and decrepit. Frakes seems like something cuddly.
Yeah.
Like a koala. Or no, like a wombat. Yeah.
Wombat's good.
Yeah.
Wombats are both herbivorous and crepuscular.
What's the latter word mean?
It's this thing is okay. I forget what crepuscular means, but I know that I learned it at some point. I will look this up.
Are you using it in the right context?
Yes, actually. I think it has something to do with like being nocturnal, somewhat. Yeah, okay. Resembling or relating to twilight. Fuck. So nocturnal is for the night, crepuscular is for twilight.
Crepuscular is for animals who read terrible books.
It's for animals that are vampires.
Yeah. YA fans.
Right. That's a real
yeah.
It's a real hot take amongst, Star Trek nerds to call Twilight a bad novel. You'll meet a lot of resistance.
Yeah, absolutely. Let alone going on a social media crusade, insisting that your taste in quote literature is much more advanced than all the other kids, having read Star Trek meets X-Men.
If your favorite novel can't be simulated with a fistful of action figures, then don't even talk to me.
There is some truth to that.
Yeah, the truth is that nobody talks to me.
I do want to note, since we seem to be winding down, that my last bit of Star Trek news. This is a Star Trek news podcast now.
Okay.
Thank you. The supposed next JJ Trek film has been canceled.
I heard this actually. I can't imagine JJ weeps about anything. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy to be emotionally invested in any of his work.
Well, he doesn't have a soul. So.
Yeah, that's true.
And no, it's not because he's Semitic,
Short.
But, we were robbed of a Tarantino film, which is annoying to me.
I mean, there's a lot of various Tarantino projects over the years that never came to fruition. He just loves to talk about shit he has no intention of following through on.
Simon Pegg was like, because Simon Pegg plays Scotty
right
in these films.
Believe it or
and
not,
he was really, I think.
Didn't he write one?
I think he did. He was very invested in these films, and I think he had a lot, or a certain amount, to do with, their production eventually. So I don't know. I'm surprised he's not talking more about it. Maybe he's given up. I liked him in that role, though.
I mean, I liked him in most things that he's done, but he kind of just fell off the face of the earth at some point.
He did. After he did that that last Cornetto film.
The End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine.
Yes, exactly. Did you watch that?
No, I always wanted to, because I saw Hot Fuzz, I saw Shaun of the Dead, but I never got around to it.
It's not very well received, but I remember liking it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I really really liked Shaun of the Dead. It's probably one of my favorite comedies.
I think most people who saw it really like Shaun of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very endearing
But
film, easy to like.
Lots of people did not like World's End, and I was somewhat surprised by that.
And Hot Fuzz was also well received, right?
Yeah, Hot Fuzz was well received, although I'm honestly surprised by that because it's not really a ha-ha comedy. You know what I mean?
It's more of a hoo-hoo comedy.
A ho-ho. It's like a meta genre. I don't want to say deconstruction.
Well,
but it's parody. It's parody, but it on its face it takes itself seriously. So
is Shaun of the Dead not the same? Like what Hot Fuzz is to the action genre, Shaun of the Dead is to horror or zombie horror.
I feel like Shaun of the Dead is a little more like funny, superficially speaking.
More like of a blatant comedy.
There's more setups and punchlines. Okay. Whereas Hot Fuzz, especially once you start nearing like the latter 45 minutes or so, it's really just an action film.
Yeah.
Kind of like oh, look at the way they killed that guy. Haha.
But I think that action films just play well to audiences.
Sure. It's not a bad film by any means. Although I didn't, the first time I'd watched it, I didn't really like it because it betrayed my expectations. It wasn't. Half the movie just isn't really funny in the way I expected it to be. But it's good.
Well, I appreciate that they didn't just make Shaun of the Dead 3 times.
That's true. Yeah, I'd rather them experiment. And Edgar Wright is everything he does is hilarious. I think.
I wanted to watch what is it? Boss Baby Driver.
Baby Driver's good. I liked it a lot.
Is that somebody that like really is harsh on babies? Like, oh, you're a real baby driver.
baby driver. They're crawling around. He's whipping them. Put that circle into the hole. You're gonna get it. Yeah, Baby Driver. I watched it on a plane, like all my movies.
Sounds like the perfect environment to watch that.
Absolutely. It had Kevin Spacey in it.
Was this before the end times?
Well, I think by the time the film had come out, this was the end times for him.
Kevin Spacey's a bit of a baby driver himself.
He certainly is. He's got a baby face too.
Will it turn baby heel?
He looks like a baby. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Oh, I forgot 7 of 9 is going to be in Picard season 3.
So, having seen a little bit more Voyager, before I ditched it for Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul, I was past the point of 7 of 9's introduction. And I just cannot fathom why people would be excited about the return of 7 of 9. It's like what a just she's fine. She's not like bad or anything. But definitely compared to the rest of the Voyager crew, but I'm not exactly clamoring for more 7 of 9. Never was.
Yeah.
I don't know if these people just want to furiously JO or what.
I think so. She's one of the few attractive women we get, really, but and she's still pretty attractive nowadays somehow. But
Gates seething.
I'm struggling to, because I want to say, like, my knee-jerk reaction to 7 of 9 as a concept would be, oh, that's a cool idea.
Right.
But I wonder if I'm kind of over the Borg.
Well, if you're not, you will be at the conclusion of Voyager. Because they do everything in their power to demystify the Borg.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think for as good as, and even for as good as Best of Both Worlds was, the way the Borg were defeated was kind of like, oh, we hacked their mainframe and now they're asleep.
Right.
It's kind of like, oh, okay. All right, well, I guess they're not the antagonists anymore.
Borg weren't cool because they are, half robot people. They were cool because they were so seemingly insurmountable.
Yes, exactly. So once they have been surmounted, I don't really think I care.
Right.
If I wanted to kind of explore this idea of someone who has been assimilated kind of returning to human life, I'd play Quake 4, I think.
There's a new antagonistic species in Voyager called species like some numbers or
X.
something. Like species like 3572.
Sure.
It's whatever designation the Borg gave them. And their whole shtick is that they are the species that the Borg is afraid of. And they come from like some other dimension. They look like big bug people. And they're all CG. And there's nothing really...
that must be terrible.
There's nothing really interesting about them. It's just, the Borg is scared of them, so I guess I am too.
Right.
But, Voyager still comes out on top. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, that would be interesting. In more competent hands, I guess. What was I going to say? Really burning the midnight oil here. Whatever. I forgot.
That's that 8 a.m. midnight oil.
Yeah. Well, it's a little earlier than expected, but yeah, I had to start using it, unfortunately.
Well, a podcaster is never early nor late. He is...
Is that Confucius?
Always on time. He records precisely when he intends to. No, that's a quote from my favorite literary character, Black Gandalf.
In other news, in lighter news, I have procured some Taiwanese pineapple cakes, which taste suspiciously like Fig Newtons.
Oh, they're actual cakes? That's not like a drug?
Yeah, it's not a drug.
You know where I can score some Taiwanese pineapple cakes around here? Really fixin'.
Yeah. I suppose I am one to engage in recreational drug use once in a while. So I could see where the confusion would come in.
Yeah, I only engage in obligatory drug use.
Mm-hmm. When it's force-fed to you?
Yeah.
By your
the government.
Handler? Yeah, by the government.
The fluoride in my water.
The
chemtrails raining down on me. So we got a question of the week.
Yeah, we do. We do. We were kind of grasping, just trying to extend this this first hour and a half. I could feel it.
No, it's more of
I want to talk about Trek.
Just a general weariness. and more generalized wariness about Trek.
But
But
yeah. We hate Trek. But let's
take a question of the week.
Let's take a question.
So this week's question of the week comes from Edmund Fitzgerald.
Mm-hmm.
Don't laugh at the man's name. It's a little rude.
I'm sorry. That was uncalled for.
Edmund asks, he gets right into it. He says, "Who lets you get away with such blatant navel gazing? People pay you?" And that's a pretty good question. Kind of double up questions together. But thank you, Fitz. For me, I don't want to answer for both of us, but for me, my dad used to serve, and he would often take me to the shipyard to watch the various battleships roll into the harbor, which, as a kid, is a pretty majestic thing, because those things are fucking huge.
Mm-hmm.
And him and I went together pretty often. Once I was able to drive as a teenager, I would do this kind of by myself sometimes, take a date there on occasion, but I think it took you once or twice.
Yeah, I've been.
Yeah.
I've been, yeah.
It's something I highly recommend if you've never had a chance to do it. Good way to kill a Sunday afternoon. A lot of fun. I don't know. Do you have any other navel gazing stories?
Well, so going back to this gentleman's question, who lets you get away with such navel gazing? Unfortunately, I haven't been navel gazing since I think the 90s. That was, when crop tops were in style, right? And then, eventually they took it all away from us.
Yeah, I remember once a certain season of the Gilmore Girls dropped, and all the women would take their fashion tips from the Gilmore Girls, and
Yes.
they didn't have those kind of crop tops. They had long, oversized sweaters, and that was the end of that.
We went from low rise jeans and crop tops to North Face jackets and Uggs very quickly,
Right.
almost overnight. But I will say that I do keep some magazines around, which include pictures of Britney Spears at 15 years old, which I use on occasion.
For me, I like to cut out the navel. Like, I cut just below the bottom of the crop top and just above the hem of the jeans, and
Yes.
just paste a cascading totem of navels vertically.
See, I do the same thing, but I replace it with C-3PO's wires from the same location.
Smart.
Yeah.
Now, what's really difficult is photocopying these such that they come out the same size as each other to make a no discrepancies in the width of the navel.
Right.
So,
Requires some clever photo editing.
a fastidious attention to detail for sure.
That is the word I would have used. Yes, fastidious. Fastidious.
Fastidious. But navel gazing is not as easy to get away with these days as you would
Certainly
think.
not. Certainly not, especially after Me Too. You can barely talk to a woman nowadays.
Right. Me Too, is that like a Wall-E sequel?
Hold on. I'm not getting it.
That's okay.
No, I don't get it.
That's okay.
Am I an idiot?
No, just me. Then the number 2 vaguely sounds like a robotic serial number of a fictional robot.
I hate you. Wall-E, Me Too.
Well, it helps if you say Wall-E.
Yes, Wall-E. Sorry. Wall-E.
The wall that came to life. If you want to thank Edmund for his question and remind everybody that if you're like Fitz here, then you want us to answer your question on the question of the week, you can email us at thereadierroom@gmail.com with capital T and 2 capital R's, or tweet at @thereadierroom and send us your question and we'll answer it, especially the good ones. We are possibly going to take a break. We're going to take a break?
I don't know if I need to. Should I get more coffee?
No, it's a diuretic.
I feel like I want more coffee.
Then
It's
I
getting
guess
cold.
I guess we'll take a break.
Yeah. Let's take a quickie.
We'll be back. We'll give each other a quickie, and then we'll talk Trek. Back in a moment. And we're back.
We're back.
We're back, and we're here to talk Trek.
We are here to talk Trek. Now, you're a very sleepy boy, Mitch, but the good news is that you'll probably get your second wind soon.
I am only human,
And,
after all.
Yeah.
That is a Billy Joel reference.
I thought it was a Sam Smith reference.
No, there's a song called Second Wind, and then parenthetically, Only Human by Billy Joel.
I somehow have not heard this song. What album is that?
I believe it's Innocent Man.
Oh.
It's, like the doo-wop album.
Yes, the doo-wop album.
I mean, all the songs on it reference, like, a different doo-wop adjacent artist.
Call of Duty doo-wops. How about that?
Yeah, you're very funny, but that's not that record. I was wrong.
Oh.
Might be River of Dreams?
Okay.
I know I am getting to the bottom of this, so don't think about moving on.
I'll wait.
Oh my god, I never would have expected this. It originally appeared on a Greatest Hits album.
What?
Crazy.
That's interesting. That's like a trivia question.
Yeah. But it's a song
nice.
about teen suicide. Whether it's encouraging or discouraging it, I'm not sure.
Now, is it in like doo-wop style?
No, it's actually more of a reggae jaunt.
That's kind of a shame.
Get like a kind of a slow paced 6/8 rhythm, kind of like Earth Angel, with the guitar chords on the beat, kind of romantic, and it's about kids killing themselves.
Yeah, I think it could have been something really special, but oh well. Devil's Due.
Yeah. A more bizarre episode than we typically get.
Yeah, it was a very, very funny, and I put that in scare quotes, not because I don't believe it, but because it's debatable. Very funny episode.
I think the humor mostly comes in the latter half in the courtroom drama.
Sure. Although it is just ridiculous the whole way through.
Yes.
And there's no real, I mean, there are stakes, but it's presented to you in such a way that you never feel anxious about it, really.
No, because the core conceit of, is this character telling the truth? Are they some kind of huckster? Picard is immediate and unwavering in his belief that this person's not on the level.
Yeah, and what do you know? He's right. There's no
Right.
twist. He's just right.
So there's no real tension or apprehension on the part of the audience.
And it is kind of like just a woman. So, like, it's just like some chick.
This woman, she lied to get what she wanted. That's science fiction.
I'm going insane. What did you think about it, though, as a whole?
I didn't really like it. I didn't hate it. But
Ooh.
I liked precisely a few of the lines, the Judge Data jokes towards the end.
Sure.
I did get amusement from that, but overall, I just wasn't very interested in it.
Yeah.
And
on that note, just to interject really quickly, on that note, the data, Judge Data stuff, I found it genuinely interesting, the idea of Data worrying about his lack of bias in arbitration. Yeah, it's kind of a reversal of what you would usually find with any other character.
Yeah,
but
this was clearly not interested in like
No,
wringing any
not
real
at all.
drama from that.
Right. It's kind of a throwaway idea.
Right. And when it could actually carry an entire episode.
It certainly could.
Like, I think a much better episode concept would be similar courtroom thing with Data as the arbitrator, but maybe a lower ranking Enterprise crew member has committed some foible on a planet, and Data ultimately has to rule against them, and they suffer whatever consequence. And then Data dealing with that.
Yeah, sure. That's kind of interesting.
Hell, you could even make it a main crew member if they don't actually fucking die, but you know.
Right. Huh. Yeah, I guess that would have been pretty good. Maybe a little more tension between the crew that needs to kind of work against each other.
Exactly. But
because that didn't happen here.
No, in this it's just how many silly costumes can we bring out of the closet?
Yeah. Well, which I don't know. It was fun. I like this episode, I think, significantly more than you.
It sounds like it. What did you like about it?
Well, I appreciated just the tone of it. I think we haven't had like a sillier episode in a while, so it feels fresh. I thought Marta was, as good of an actress as you're gonna get. I thought her performance was like fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. She's kind of hamming it up reasonably.
Yeah. And I don't know. I every now and then I just like something with like very low stakes, and it wasn't boring. Kept my attention.
I will agree it was not boring.
And I thought everything kind of came together really well in terms of the guest actors, and it all made sense, which is something that doesn't always happen. Oh, actually, it didn't all make sense, because my issue is the one big issue I had through this entire episode was, why would a contract be valid? A contract like this, why would it be valid when we're considering that the Enterprise is Federation property? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you're already, like, if this woman was smart, and we're led to believe that she is to a degree, she wouldn't have gotten herself tangled up in like Federation business by claiming that the contract included her ownership of Federation property. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
There's no arbitration needed. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's just straight up the plot convenience that the Enterprises can't fly away from this, say it's the Prime Directive, and call it a day.
Right, sure. Yeah, that was another thing that was somewhat odd. Although I guess I understand Picard's desire to kind of shit on this woman.
Well, we all have those desires now and again.
Every now and then.
To me, this episode felt kind of like a facsimile of a Star Trek episode, of a TNG episode. Yeah. In that,
definitely a facsimile of a TNG episode. Yeah.
Very often, there's this image of Picard, the orator, making a speech and saving the day through his cunning linguist skills. And
very nice.
Thank you. And here in the courtroom scene, it's like, all right, cool. This is exactly what's going to happen. When in actuality, it's just, not at all like that. There's no compelling argumentation. It's just Geordi found something and Picard shows the evidence.
Oh my god, you're right. I forgot about that. And meanwhile, the woman formerly known as Ardra? Is it Ardra?
I think it's Ardra.
It seems completely unperturbed by this. They go in for a recess, and Picard's like, "Oh, I think I found the thing that's gonna make me win, Data." And she's still kind of just sitting there. She doesn't really care. That is really stupid. You're right. Oh no, I hate this episode now.
But it does
Yeah,
feel that way, right? It's just
I get what you're saying. I think part of it has to do with this having been dredged up from an old original series script.
yes,
and retooled for that, because it's, when you think about it, it is very much, it feels like a Kirk thing, doesn't it?
right. When the character, the captain, is not supposed to be the intellectual type, but rather the action show off, more
Mhm.
charismatic guy, it makes complete sense for him to just have this magic show essentially.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, I don't think this episode, this script, ever escaped its roots. In fact, I think this was one of the...
Ardra
I might be
trying
wrong
to
about
seduce
this.
him, another Kirk thing.
Yeah, I might be wrong about this, but I think this was one of the earliest episodes ever put to paper.
Hmm.
So it's got something of a history behind it, and yeah, it definitely feels like it doesn't quite fit here. But again, that's why I like it. I like kind of goofy stuff in shows like this sometimes.
I don't mind goofy, but I think you can do it in a way that's a little more true to TNG. For
Yeah,
example, the Barclay episode where he's kind of got that hollow program of the crew and they're all silly in
Yeah.
various ways. Like, that was pretty goofy, but it also fit well. And
Sure,
it was very
sure.
enjoyable. But I still
Yeah.
don't hate the episode, despite all my misgivings. I was entertained, but it was never anything more than passable.
Yeah. I guess I can see that. And I guess I've already knocked this down maybe half a point for myself. So.
Well, hold on. We still have some plot summary to go. We can get that other
Yeah.
half a point yet.
Yeah. All right. So let's go. The episode opens with Data in the holodeck playing Scrooge.
Right, which
Scrooge
it
McDuck.
isn't some kind of futuristic 4D chess game. It's Scrooge is the name of a literary character.
Hey, you want to go to 10 Ford and play some Scrooge?
Everyone just throws their hands up and shouts Scrooge when you get a point.
Bizarre performance here from Brent. I remember Patrick was so distressed by this that he would go on to bankroll that Broadway tour of A Christmas Carol, starring himself, of course.
Right.
I
I think he played the titular Carol.
the Christmas Carol. Ooh, now there's a high concept production, A Christmas Carol, huh? But yeah, and you know, as we know, that would eventually be turned into an acclaimed made-for-TV movie by TNT. Critics called the film explosive.
I really
Critics called the film explosive.
critics called the film explosive.
Mhm.
I like my reading, but
Critics called the film explosive.
critics called the film explosive. The film explosive has a Scanner Darkly energy.
yes, it does. New Philip K. Dick just dropped. Yeah, Brent's really hamming it up in this scene, huh? And it's
Kind of.
I didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it either.
Very, very, very poor performance.
I
of
just don't
Scrooge
think
McDuck.
Brent is a very good actor.
Oh, I don't know if that's true. I think we've had this conversation before, haven't we?
Well, we certainly had it on set more than enough times.
I think Brent is more than a fine actor.
He
I think he does a good job.
he
most of the
plays
time.
Data well, but I think the way he plays lore, the way he plays more comedic roles in a lot of other shows or in the past, just he doesn't. All of his acting comes across as pretty disingenuous.
You think so? I don't know. I like his lore. It feels like very theater, you know?
Yeah, but theater in the sense that I need to be so exaggerated so the people in the back can pick this up.
That's some history. Whoa,
You okay?
tripped over my words. Yeah, I just had a stroke. Jesus. This is what happens when you get midnight Readier.
Readier After Dark?
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily... I still don't know if that necessarily makes it bad. I don't know. We're going to have to agree to disagree on that, because I think we had like an hour-long conversation on it before.
Okay.
But definitely not good here.
Not at all.
We can't agree upon that.
And
it's such a brief moment, but I'm so offended by it. This scene.
Well, it's literally the first thing you see, so it's going to make an image on you. And,
sure, it's going to imprint upon me.
It was a lot worse than the Shakespeare scene.
Much worse, yeah.
That was a fine performance. And
absolutely. In fact, I really like that.
It does beg the question of how many times can you do this in one show?
Eventually, you start just delving into like bizarre genre fiction for things that Data reenacts.
What give for example?
For example, I don't know.
50 Shades?
I don't know. I was. If I wish I knew, I would have prepared a better example. Flatland.
Data's just dressed as a square, and after Picard
always
halts,
dressed as a square.
After Picard halts the program, they're like walking out into the hallway. Data's still a square. It's like, very good, Data.
Oh no. Oh my god. Yeah, and
Captain, I don't understand. What do parallelograms have to do with the human condition? Oh, you see, Data, we're all flat characters on the inside.
Oh my god.
Curious. Perhaps the way we view the second dimension is the same way higher beings view us in the third dimension.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Wow.
Yeah. Yes, Data, that is how the book ends.
Yeah, Picard is very impressed by Data here.
He's got to be. It's in the script.
It's in the script. And
it's in his prescription.
We unfortunately dive into with Data the concept of method acting here.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest meme of all time.
Yeah, that and the concept of the extended warranty are the two front runners for the biggest meme of all time.
And
I got no love for this. The method.
For what, this scene?
Yeah. I mean,
or method acting?
Both. I don't think this even connects to the theme of the episode all that well.
It certainly doesn't.
Because that's the goal of these cold opens, right?
Yeah.
To reinforce the theming, but there ain't nothing here.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Also, Picard gets called to the bridge by Riker, and instead of immediately going to the bridge and, in case it's an emergency, he just stands there and kind of talks with Data for a little bit more, which I found a little irresponsible.
That's more of a power move, right? Whose ship is this, really?
How dare you call me to the bridge?
You tell Commander Riker I'll come to the bridge when I'm fucking ready.
So we then learn that well, the episode leads you to think that it's going to be a science station episode.
Right. And we're all very sad that it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's not a science station episode. There's no science station because it gets blown up. No, it gets broken into. Because what? So here's something that I found curious about the setting here, which is we're dealing with a society, an alien society of humans who are aliens, who 1,000 years ago kind of just gave up all their technology and now they're like farmers, right? But apparently they're still aware of spacefaring civilizations and can communicate with them on the same level. Did you find this odd?
I mean, yes, but after encountering humans in the Gamma Quadrant, or the Delta Quadrant, whatever Voyager is, I have forever scrubbed this from my mind and just give up on consistency.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
The annoying thing is, though, in a more serious episode, this is actually kind of a cool civilization to explore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Star Trek is not hurting for the cool idea. It's the execution.
Right, yeah.
That's the problem.
That's true. That is how it always ends up. But yeah, going back into this episode, jogging my memory as I'm rewatching it, I recall being surprised at this point in the episode where there's like a science station on a planet like of an agrarian society.
Well, they're not.
Apparently, that society is completely aware of.
Despite both being humans, the science station, the scientists, are not native to the planet.
Right. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying necessarily. It's that it's kind of like we watched Who Watches the Watchers.
Well, right, but yeah, but it's not that they're Luddites, that they are anti-technology and hate it. They just decided to give it up.
Sure, yeah. It's just that, like, I would think after 1,000 years of that, maybe they would have forgotten them, about outer space or something.
Who knows, these alien humans? Maybe they have a lifespan of 1,000 years, and it's all the same.
Oh, maybe they do. Maybe. I'm not offended by it, but I was confused for a moment. That's all. And so the science station gets broken into, and Picard's on Skype with the head of the station.
Other old guy.
And other old guy. Yeah. And I guess there's like a riot going on the planet for
because there's earthquakes.
Reason. Yeah, which signals the coming of a deity,
right?
That is not benevolent, apparently, named Ardra,
otherwise known as malevolent,
otherwise known as Maleficent, and
otherwise slow as molasses.
Wrapping it all back around. Yeah. So Picard is able to get, I don't know, someone to beam the old guy back, but not everyone else onto the ship.
Yeah, because reasons.
Yeah, he couldn't get a lock on them, and we're treated to something I thought was kind of a funny cap to the scene, where Picard says, he says to, I don't know if O'Brien was on transporter duty or whatever, but he says to whoever's transporting, he says, have the guy come to my ready room And then he turns to Riker and says, "Number one, try and make some sense out of this mess." And Picard walks away, and then Riker kind of just stands there and like does that eye thing. This line is the equivalent of Riker, solve this problem. You know?
I think we've all had times in one job or another where your boss just tells you to do something and you're just left throwing your hands up without a clue.
My problem is Picard seems to do this fairly often.
That's just good leadership.
Mm-hmm. Can't hold their hand all the time.
No. Can't hold their hand
We
much
do have
longer.
a fish.
And
oh, not bad.
the direction was very proud of the fish that the fishmonger procured that day.
Yes.
To put it right up front and center.
Creative shot.
Interior, Readier Room. Fish in tank.
Fish in tank.
So here
and I guess
we get the first exposition on the whole Ardra thing. They're like, oh, they're rioting because this deity they believe is coming back. It's the end of times. It's the devil.
Pretty standard stuff.
Right.
The devil!
The devil!
It's pretty standard stuff. These people are worried that, this deity's coming back and is gonna either kill them or enslave them or something. I don't know what they think, but it's enough for there to be riots and stuff. Troy does an amazing job and lets us know that there's a lot of anxiety down on that planet right now. I guess enough to commit suicide?
Well, the bar for that, as you and I both know, is very low. But yes.
It is very low. Yeah. So, I guess they end up, Picard and Worf and Riker or someone, I don't know. They beam down to the planet I'm sorry. They talk with the leader of the planet first, and he's actually just a normal dude.
Normal space
for the most
human.
part. Yeah, he's a normal space human, and he immediately acquiesces to the request to return the hostages, but he's like, I don't know if that's possible because I don't know, like, people are behaving erratically, and so I guess the Enterprise crew decides to beam down to kind of facilitate the return of the hostages from the science station.
Right. And then this is where Ardra comes in?
This is where Ardra comes in.
Right. A little bit on the history of Ardra here. For the first several drafts of the script, including the one that was originally for, TOS, the original series, Ardra was instead known as Lived, Devil backwards.
Lived.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we did some table reads, but the problem was that no one was really sure how to pronounce that. Like, some of the actors said Lived, some others said Lived, and finally, there were 2 or 3 people that said Lived. I mean, in any case, it wasn't a very threatening name, but the writers were adamant that had to be the name. It's Devil backwards, she's the devil, that's it. Some nonsense about banishments and naming rituals. I wasn't quite paying that much attention, but hold on. My memory's a little foggy at this point, but the name obviously changed eventually, so that's pretty good, right?
Eventually, yeah. And we got we got the striking name Ardra,
right? Which
sounds like a bird.
I keep thinking it's related to dragons in some way, but it's not. And she's not.
Ardra in the first few drafts also was a man at first. And the decision to move away from that was I think that came from Michael, who considered the inclination toward deception to be a quote feminine trait.
Thank God he spoke up. I always found the scene where Ardra tries to seduce Picard to be pretty awkward to film before that change was made.
Well, it was progressive, and I guess if we hadn't made the change, the TV censors would have.
That's right.
It used to be difficult to be gay back in the day.
The censors were just very, very powerful. They could have changed, and they would have changed Picard to be a woman to let that scene go through.
They would have. Now you can just throw it into any tight hole you want these days.
Yeah, but the censors, they ran a tight ship. Real baby drivers, those guys.
Real baby drivers. Yeah, and it's at this point that we also realize, we've met Ardra. It's at this point we also realize that girls get it done.
Indeed. Girls get it done count for TNG. Currently up to 50.
One. When did other girls get it done so far?
There was that one time Dr. Crusher got over her bullshit white woman disease and stopped being delusional. She got it done.
I guess there was that other time where she resurrected a man.
From beyond the veil of death.
Yeah. Did Pulaski ever get it done?
She stuck it to some of the higher ranking men on the ship and ousted Worf as a romantic.
And just absolutely shit all over Data all the time.
Yeah.
She got it done. She got it done. Troy never gets it done, though.
And spoilers for the rest of the series, she does not get it done. You want to see Troy not getting it done, I refer you to the episode Disaster, where she becomes the ranking captain.
Fitting name.
And absolutely does not get it done.
She does not get it done. But in this episode, girls do get it done. And I'm here for it.
I'm also present.
So we learn here that Ardra and the people of this planet that I don't remember the name of entered into a contract 1,000 years ago, where the planet would receive 1,000 years of peace and prosperity, and in exchange for that, Ardra would enslave the population at the end of that 1,000 years.
Fair deal.
And now she's come to collect on that. And she, for some reason, is extremely sexually attracted to Picard. Oh, also she can turn into a Klingon monster.
Right, and later on, a very silly rendition of the devil.
The devil! Oh! And one other thing, right? What else does she turn into?
Another, Targ monster. But she is...
That Klingon monster costume is absolutely grotesque.
Yeah. The big old
and the
drippy...
voice, my god.
It's more effort than I would have expected for not a lot of screen time.
It is, yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of effort. Yeah, it appears for 5 seconds?
Picard turns into it too.
So weird. He does.
But there's a lot of Satanism going around this episode, which sparked its own share of controversy. I think this is the only episode we ever had that was protested both by Christians because they thought it was supporting Satanism, and Satanists because they thought it was denigrating Satanism.
Right.
Now, oddly enough, it was also protested by the Jews, but we never really found out why.
It's still a mystery, really.
Yeah. But hopefully time has healed that wound. Or perhaps it hasn't. Perhaps that wound is still open.
Festering.
Uncle Festering. So what happened next?
You can't just drop that and move on. What indeed happened next?
Is this where Ardra makes her claim on the Enterprise?
So, well, I think immediately following this, Picard has a little heart-to-heart with Data in the Readier Room.
Right. He says, Data, if you ever need to become the arbitrator of a legal dispute,
Yeah.
then you must remember the words of Scrooge McDuck.
Yes. Bah humbug.
Money.
He quotes, oh wow, this is topical for me as I'm eating my Barnum animal crackers.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Picard quotes, it's like my own Star Trek episode today. I start eating the crackers, and then Picard quotes P.T. Barnum, which I found, for some reason, Picard saying the word sucker feels really out of place.
Agreed. Also, the just how this is introduced in the first quarter of the episode and is just straight up the only track they ever go on the whole time.
Yeah. Yes, it's a little odd.
A sucker is born every minute.
No.
Given that this is the 15th minute of the episode, 15 suckers have been born.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so Picard is dead set on exposing Ardra as a fraud. He thinks she's just some bitch, and she is. And so he has Data read through, I guess, all the contracts. Like,
Right.
there's big books of the contract that have been stashed away.
Teasing.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Those props were actually imported from Eastern Europe. They're some of the world's oldest known Bible concordances.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and after we wrapped, we just peed and pooped all over them.
That's why they're
So-
known as the Dead Sea Scrolls.
That's right.
This part teased you with the idea of like a legal loophole solution, like the kind of
Yes, it did.
fun bureaucratic stuff, and turns out it amounts to nothing.
It amounts to nothing, yes. Data, well, first of all, Picard goes to the bridge of the Enterprise only to find Ardra sitting in his chair. Very Q-like. It's literally just a Q scene.
It is. She's wearing the uniform.
Yeah. And then he tries to transport her off the ship, but it turns out she just moved chairs.
Devilish.
And here's a great question, if I do say so myself. She replaces, I guess, an ensign or something at comms,
Yeah, Ensign Ching Chong.
right? Yes. The implication being that he would have been transported to her ship, right?
Right.
And he says nothing? He's not like, oh, Captain, I was transported to a ship. Just a ship.
They told him not to talk. Like when he got transported over, the transporter chief on the ship like held a finger to his mouth.
Maybe he couldn't speak English.
Just kept saying something Wong over and over.
Something Wong. Yes, and I know your name. He does that when he gets flashed back by Ardra. He does that like funny little Chinese man stare. He's like, whoa.
That was actually
I
the
thought it was
direction
pretty-
that actor was given. He's
All right, now look like a Chinaman.
right. Do it like the Chinamen do. Give me that Oriental look.
Some of that Oriental flair. Okay, yeah. It's at this point that Data returns and tells Picard, "Nope, can't get out of this one."
It's
This
legally
one being
sound.
her claim to the the planet and the Enterprise
Now,
as it was orbiting.
I like to think that there is no legal precedent in that society for enslavement deals with an omnipotent entity, but you never know. It might be on the books.
Yeah. At the very least, they could have tried. But alas.
No, we could only come up with one solution to this problem, and we're never trying anything else.
Picard goes to bed and wakes up, and Archer's there.
You know what? Before we get into this whole thing, this idea of like, okay, this person's presenting themselves as a deity, and we immediately know that they're lying because God is dead and we killed him. It is very TNG. Deep Space Nine was more open to playing with mysticism.
Okay.
And the idea that there might be that kind of element to things. Like, that's a pretty core conflict between the two, the first officer and Captain Sisko on Deep Space Nine. Okay. The belief in mysticism and the denial of it. But it was more interesting than just, it's completely impossible, we're not even going to think about it or consider it. Even if that gels with a society advanced enough to get into space, just leaving that behind, it does make for less compelling stories, I feel.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, so I guess what you're saying is that TNG is the 15-year-old atheist who posts on Reddit, while Deep Space Nine goes to church every Sunday.
Deep Space Nine finds God even on the golf course. You know, it's not the building; it's your relationship with the big man.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Not about the golf course, but about everything else. It's kind of what do I want to say? It's sort of taken for granted that TNG would handle a concept like this in this way. So it's a little bit boring, maybe.
Yeah.
It's almost like why make this episode, kind of.
When I remember hearing this, especially at the time when Deep Space Nine did take that, I don't know, more nuanced look at various mysticisms and whatnot. It did have its own backlash to that people just didn't want stories with a religious element. And I think that's a fine perspective, if a little limiting. So, kind of wanting this take from TNG is fine to me.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just that we've done this so many times at this point, right?
Yeah.
Where the crew runs into a god and it's just like some dude.
They can't all be Nagilum.
Oh no. I mean, Q's kind of a god. He's just a straight up god, kinda, right? It's like
he is.
Oh, I guess no one really worships him.
I worship Q.
Yeah, no one but the fans.
We all make sacrifices at the altar of Delancey.
And fans of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Delancey, by the way, was in Breaking Bad.
Yes. Oh, I was going to tell you this. Or did I tell you this? Maybe not. But I was going to bring it up at some point.
That he was in Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't tell me, so thanks for that.
Uh-huh.
But I was delighted when I saw him. I was Delancey'd.
Yeah. It is always a treat when you see Delancey in the wild.
It's like seeing a cute dog on the side of the street.
Right. Or an aging old man.
He's affable.
He's affable. Yeah, he can be aft.
Yeah.
And like we've said countless times, he looks better with age.
We'll say it as many times as it takes.
Until he starts looking worse.
Well,
Which is right around the corner.
All the incels tell me that John Delancey hits the wall later than most. That's the prevailing theory.
He's aged like a fine port.
That one could go navel gazing at.
Yeah. Just bringing this back around to ships.
See, my ship was always Delancey and Delancey.
Ooh, cute.
So Ardra comes to seduce Picard, as we all do at some point in our lives.
And I'm still not sure why she's so attracted to him, other than the script necessitates it.
Well, he was Kirk at some point in the script's development.
Yeah.
But he...
Kirkier Picard than we've ever had.
Picard delivers my favorite line, possibly in all of TNG. When he...
Earl Grey hot?
Not in this scene. In describing Ardra?
Argo? Fargo?
He says, I find you obvious and vulgar, which among the crew quickly became the way that we started to greet Marina on set.
Right. Yes, because we do get a little Troy scene here where and this is bizarre. She manages to turn into Troy.
Yeah, who knows how she managed? Was her crew just like programming in Troy's appearance?
Right. Yeah, how did they know? Like, what's going on here? But I do appreciate the belief on Ardra's part that Picard wants to fuck Troy.
It's more Freudian than anything else.
Troidian. Troidian slip.
That was the name of the one piece that she wore. That leotard.
The Troidian slip. Oh Christ. And you know what? It's made me want to explore this Picard-Troy sexual dynamic. So I think what I'm going to do is, after we're finished recording, I'm going to open up OpenAI and take a crack at it.
A noble endeavor.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Oh, I know you will. And hopefully I can enjoy that on my own private time.
So,
yeah,
Ardra being dunked on as being obvious and vulgar. Now that we know that Ardra is obvious, right?
Obviously, Ardra.
I guess what did she leave of her own accord?
I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I forget. I kind of stopped paying attention at this point.
Oh, in this episode that you liked?
Yeah. We see a matte painting, another one of Matt's famous paintings, which, as you know, is one of my favorite parts of TNG. It's
Always.
a nice little painting.
Yeah.
And as usual at this point in production, we have people walking around in the background, like on this bridge. I love it. I just love the effect. So cool.
A nice little blend. And then this is where the courtroom scene starts, right?
Yes.
Or maybe Geordi's investigating and then the courtroom scene?
Yeah, you know what? The Enterprise disappears.
Right, because this is what happens. She transports Picard down to the planet from his room.
Yes, that's it. Okay.
And then when he's going back in the shuttle, she disappears the Enterprise.
Yeah. Now Jordy is down on the planet, right?
Yeah, he's working with other old guy
Yeah, why?
to.
What is he working on?
He's trying to unmask Ardra's
Mask.
deception.
Mm-hmm. I thought she was obvious.
Well, obviously vulgar, but deceptively. What's some tagline for like a snack or something? It's like deceptively cheesy or something.
Deceptively cheesy. I don't know if I want anything to be deceptively cheesy.
What about my humor?
That's obviously cheesy.
Obvious and vulgar.
Yeah, it certainly is vulgar.
All right, so once the Enterprise is gone, then it's the courtroom scene.
Yes, then it's the courtroom scene. We get a little Data action. Data takes on the role of the judge here.
Right.
In this arbitration between Picard and Ardra.
This was step 2 in the Data arc. First, he
Right.
was the defendant in Measure of a Man. Then he's the judge here. And in the next planned episode, he was going to be both jury and executioner, completing his ascension. But if I recall correctly, the darker version of Data in that script didn't really test well with audiences, so we ended up locking that script in the Paramount vault, where it sits to this day.
It's somewhat of a shame. I think we could have worked lore in there somewhere,
Right.
if need be, but alas, maybe at some point that script will get out.
I was excited to see Data with like the executioner's hood and the guillotine.
Sure.
It was the script described it as a space guillotine, which
right.
perhaps
It was
involved
like
a
a laser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been a fun prop.
A space guillotine. Yeah. So again, we talked about this, but this is an interesting concept. Not really interesting to watch
No, but
because of the way it plays out.
you do crack a few smiles.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, most of Data's lines are pretty funny.
In fact, it's so overtly comedic consistently that it almost doesn't fit with the rest of the episode, which, while not overly serious, is not written to be as funny as this is.
Yeah, I suppose so. At this point, it's kind of wacky. We start to see Ardra's facade falling apart, and she kind of rolls with it, I guess.
Yeah, pick and roll.
She stops, she drops, and she rolls.
Both good.
There's really not much to say here, is there? There is. I can't remember exactly when, but there is a little lull in one of these arbitration scenes, and I don't know if you remember this. You can actually hear. You can hear Mitch.
Don't
you can
remind
hear
me.
yourself. You whispering. you whisper, "But I gotta pee." In the background, it's really hard to hear. You want to turn your TV up to like full blast, but it's one of the more interesting bits of this episode, I think.
Do you know what that was? Like, did I ever tell you the story of why that happened?
No.
So what they needed between shots was Brent's fluffer wasn't there for the day. And, someone had to do it between takes. And they're like, Mitch, you do it. And you gotta wait around. I really needed to pee.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't blame myself. I wish it didn't end up on film, but That's a big commitment, especially with a full bladder.
It adds a little bit of lore, believability to the Star Trek universe, though.
Sure. How often do you hear about characters using the bathroom in Trek? Outside of my fan
never.
fiction, never.
And if I'm not mistaken, I may have heard a thing or two about this guy being an actual character in canon.
I think it's got a Memory Alpha page.
Yeah, I would imagine it does. So you're kind of enshrined in Trek history forever.
That's why I'm
after you die.
uniquely qualified to do this podcast.
Right. We should have told that guy that you were in Star Trek this whole time.
You mean Captain Kirk?
Yeah.
I'll let him know. He's probably listening. He knows.
Yeah, you can DM him.
Yeah. Directly message.
Yes, that is what it stands for.
Yes.
Quite.
So, did you know that Ardra is a fraud?
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I thought that Picard would become indentured to the devil for all of eternity.
What's wrong with Picard's teeth?
Oh, you make a deal with the devil for pearly whites.
The term pearly whites is uniquely disturbing for some reason.
Is it because of its proximity to pearly gates?
Maybe. Or maybe I just have a problem with the word white.
Now, Pearly Gates was her stage name back in her other career before real acting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So when various actors would give her the Pearly Gates, that's what they would say.
What? I don't.
It's like a pornography, like a pearl necklace, whatever. I tried.
Oh, I see the. Okay, I get you. I'm sorry. That was probably my fault.
No.
No, it's you know what? Try it again next week.
Yeah. All right, I'll be sure to bring up Pearly Gates just to set myself up.
Okay, Pearly Gates. All right. So Picard. Well, really, Geordi saves the day. Picard does nothing.
He steals Valor.
He steals Valor from black bodies, and Geordi saves the day by figuring out, Ardra is actually just like, what is she, the captain of the ship?
Yeah, it's her ship.
And she has like a couple dozen people on a ship orbiting the planet, which is cloaked. The ship is cloaked, not the planet. And she's managed to she has some device in her eye, kind of like Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, this was a really weird explanation.
Where, based on her eye movements, her team on the ship will, do something like create earthquakes or change her into a gooey Klingon monster. And Picard does all of this himself. He changes into a Klingon monster. He makes the earthquakes. He's wrestled control of Ardra's ship from her.
Wait, I thought it was the Enterprise doing it.
No, I think they took over the ship. I know this is barely touched on, but I'm pretty sure.
There was more written about the fucking eye movement controller than the hostile takedown of the ship.
Right. I mean, hold on. We can go to Memory Alpha and just check real quick what actually. Yes, Picard explains that a team from the Enterprise has seized control of Ardra's ship. There it is.
Okay. Well, good thing we didn't see that.
Yeah, it kind of just happens. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and I mean that's it. That's the end of the. I mean, Ardra gets taken away, but she's not Ardra. That's we find out she's not Ardra. Obviously, she was just preying upon an old myth, right? That had already existed on this planet, in this planet society.
Instead, she's just some girl.
Yeah. Now, this raised the question for me. This takeover of Ardra's ship. Do ships in Star Trek like not have like keys or something? You know, you can just walk onto someone's ship and just be like, I'll take this.
They have shields.
Well, you would think you would need to like have some kind of ID for your own ship, or like, you know, right?
Like a fob.
Yeah, like a fob, or like a thumbprint recognizer, a retinal scanner.
Yes, I guess you're right. There should be some amount of security necessary to prevent people from just entering and commandeering.
Yeah, kind of. Well, yeah, no, I don't know. It kind of bothered me.
Stay bothered.
So, and that's the end of the episode. And we loop right back to Scrooge, right? It all comes full circle.
Does it?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, come on. Well, how many saucer sets?
Kind of a wet fart of an ending here.
Yeah, Picard goes.
You know
Baker
what?
Away, Toys.
I guess. I don't know what to give it. I think I'm gonna give it a closer to a 3.5, just because I actually enjoyed watching it.
2.5.
Wow. Ooh.
What can I say?
Mitch didn't like it.
It's perhaps the most medium episode in existence.
It's mid.
I'm surrounded on all sides by this bullshit. This mid.
Are you feeding mid?
No, I went mid, so I was allowed to go mid, so I don't feed.
I'm your jungler for tonight.
Turgo the jungler.
So, I guess I have a little trivia for you.
I'm in.
I was up late last night, doom scrolling, as they say.
Okay.
And well, you know, do you have Google Chrome on your phone?
No, I have.
Or do you use Safari?
Safari.
So when you open Google Chrome, the homepage, I guess, is Google, and it shows you a list of like news articles that pertain to recent searches that, you know, the algorithm thinks you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
And so I opened Google Chrome last night and I saw an article about the so-called Worf effect. Do you know what that is?
Now, is this TNG wharf or like a shipyard?
Oh, not bad. It's Worf. It's Worf the character.
Okay. I assume this is in the
of Deep Space Nine fame.
Is this like a Flanderization deal where it's like something describing greater trends in television characters?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yes, yeah.
I'm gonna assume it's related to Worf's propensity to only be there to propose ideas that get shot down.
That's a good guess. And it's sort of adjacent to that. It's actually the their use of Worf as a way to establish an enemy as a greater threat. Like if they beat up Worf, then they're kind of like a bigger threat than you would think or something, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it seems to be often accompanied with an excuse as to why Worf lost, where it's like, oh, he's sick or something, you know?
Which seemingly undercuts the first part.
Right. But you can't have Worf always getting beat up at his prime, because then he's useless, right?
Right.
So it's you got to attack it from both angles. But yes, I this is a TV tropes entry.
Oh, you got me with TV tropes without even telling me.
I got you troping. You're troping now.
The thing about that is Worf constantly gets mogged by Data in this regard, because Data is just so much stronger than he is.
Right. But and that's funny. Nothing is really. It never feels good to see Data get beat up. You know what I mean?
He's precious.
He is. He's fragile.
Yes.
But he's not fragile.
He's not Spectre.
Spectre.
Da-da-da-da-da. Spectre. Da-da-da-da-da.
Not bad. All right, yeah. Well, that was my trivia. I don't really have anything super fun.
I enjoyed that. Just a bit of a low key moment on the Readier Room After Dark.
Yeah, as opposed to our usual Thor moments.
That's going to do it for our episode this week. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Denny's and the Pep Boys, home of the 15-minute oil change. And of course, Denny's with their Grand Slams and Moons Over My Hammy. If you go and say Readier at either of these establishments, you'll get 15% off your purchase or order. That's going to do it for this week. Join us next week, where we may be after dark, we may be before dark, and it may be the week after next, depending on our exact schedule. But regardless, listen to our next episode, goddammit. For Brandon Hobbs, I'm Mitchell Mills, wishing you a very pleasant stay Readier.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business.
But I stroked the beard thusly. Do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?